is the rest of our crew? Okay.
Ring a bell.
Lost them on that walk. Okay, so everybody look down. Does everybody see their little card?
Yes.
Okay, has a vertical mark done. All right? So what your job is we're not going to spend time moving around because we need to be efficient here, okay? I want you to think of what problems, not what you do. I want you to put yourself in the shoes of the market that the card you have. You work with the person next to you. What problems do you have? And make a list. Okay? Doug is like, what is she speaking?
It's English.
Yeah, business problem. So what did you get? Okay, so Doug's a pet hotel. Okay, so what issues a pet hotel, like a pet boarding place? Okay, my pets do not go to boarding places.
Pet spa.
They go to hotels. Okay? They have so a pet spa. Okay, so what would their business challenges be?
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys are working together. So you should have, two people should be working together. Make the biggest list you could find. What are their problems coming that way? Okay?
Where are you guys?
Oh yeah, that's right. We lost
Manufacturing.
them.
Where's the manufacturing problem?
Okay, so you had a retail.
They mean like taking the product and we're trying to sell something.
What?
I messed up on the part of it.
Okay, so you are putting yourself in the
We're gonna do
shoes.
manufacturing.
You're a manufacturer, it should be fairly easy for you, as you
What
are.
are their problems?
Yeah, what are their problems?
Like if they always
You're
want
the,
last
you
minute.
own the manufacturing.
I own manufacturing.
What are your issues?
Staff.
Okay, write it down. Okay? You have your hospitality, so you be hospitality, let's imagine that you're a hotel.
I can't get my work out.
Okay?
This time.
Distribute.
What'd you do it for?
I need buyers to buy my product.
Okay? What did you guys get? Okay, that's fine. So you can take the best of both worlds. So take that one. Actually, no, because the other men take that. So you're a distributor. Oh, which means a manufacturer makes something somewhere, sells it to you, and you distribute it. Okay, to retail chains or whatever. What are your issues? Okay, so just let your mind work. And you're the business owner. Like, what do you have to do tomorrow? What are the big concerns that you
Always
right
somebody
now?
coming out with a newer, better
What
product.
did you guys get?
Better idea.
Okay, so what are the issues that are, if you're president of that college, what are your main issues? Okay? What did you guys get? Okay, so think private, not college, primary, secondary. Okay, what did you guys get? What? Okay, you guys sell. So you're the owner of the HVAC company.
Everybody wants something.
You don't want your slug to do it right or come back. No. What's the big issues on your plate tomorrow morning?
You mentioned the book, by the way. Have you read It's Not What You Sell, It's What They Buy? It's the guy who was the ad agency for Southwest Airlines back in the day, and it's all filled with stories like that. Really good.
Probably not in the
Cost of manufacturing.
because
I
I
know,
finished my
it's been out a while. It's on your Kindle problem.
yeah.
Whatever.
What do you have? Training. Okay, so you're a company that provides like workforce. I'll tell you my favorite. You guys read them. Tell me what you think of them.
Candy?
Yes, sir.
You want a candy?
Oh, I was going to throw something at me. No,
He will, he even wanted me.
that's okay.
Go ahead.
That keeps you awake.
I don't mind sharing.
All right.
This is our
Trying
product.
to quiet them down, they're being too loud.
There's a prize in this one. Okay? All right. How many things on your list?
13.
Oh, you're just overachiever. over
Yes,
there.
we are.
Okay. So you got 13, you got 10, you got 6.
6.
Back, 6. 10. 4. Boy, that's a good running base number. How many? 9. My threesome.
Hey, how
Corey,
many
you
on
have
your list?
How many
Items.
How How many up?
Three.
3. Back row.
7.
Okay, so our winner is.
Ours are rocks. You know, theirs are
So
pebbles.
I need to have
Give
your
them a piece of
cards,
candy.
so I can send you your present.
Oh, this is great.
Okay, this is for- Okay, well,
I got something for everybody. Well,
Oh, I can get all 3
He's
presents.
gonna give up.
here's our.
Okay, you guys go together.
My wife always said it's quality, not quantity.
All right.
Wait, no, we will give them after it, because now we're going to be asked all the questions.
Now, okay, I'm gonna hold on to these cards, because the list has to be good. All right, so now, what were you guys? A training company. Let's hear the things you're worrying about this morning.
Well, we needed the right instructors,
Okay.
the right materials,
Okay,
knowledge of the company that we were visiting, and
Okay.
understand what their needs would be,
okay,
online training, web services, and the number of people that would be attending the training session.
okay, so you need to find people to sell to. Then you have to execute, so you do some execution things. You need some supporting materials. Okay, what were the other ones?
Knowledge of what the company was trying, because if you're gonna be an expert,
Sales intelligence.
yeah, there you go.
Okay,
That's what we got.
okay, that's good. All right, how about the next two, Craig and,
Retail was what we had.
okay, so what do you have?
Stagnant income from consumers, because you're in retail.
Oh, those
make sure-
fickle consumers,
Yes.
okay? So we have a loyalty issue, Okay.
Finding good products.
Okay.
Making sure you have something that is of value.
okay?
Good employees. You've got to have a staff in order to be able to sell this and knowledgeable.
Okay,
Employee turnover as well, because if you don't treat them well and
they
they're
steal
not-
your stuff.
Yes. Specializing in a product, make sure you have something that is sellable and
Okay.
that is on the market. And then online competition is going to be really big in retail.
Okay.
So make sure you have that to be able to service them with, to be able to shop online as well as in the store.
Okay, how are you gonna find new customers?
Well.
Because you got some
advertise
customers that might
effectiveness.
leave.
Right.
So, okay, you got
Advertise
advertising?
effectiveness with making sure your demographics are the right markets that you're trying to sell to.
Okay, that's a good list. I'm coming back to you, overachievers. Okay, David and Bill, what do you got? Okay, so let's hear, what are you worried about?
Staffing and personnel.
Those darn people, okay?
And making sure you have the proper amount of staff for figuring out, your time.
Resource
when you're going to be
allocation.
busy and when, not having enough staff, or maybe you guys, people standing around doing nothing. And,
Does that ever happen to you? You
yeah,
got people standing around you?
sometimes.
Okay.
Not too much lately.
You never know which day of the week you're gonna have a bunch of people coming to eat, which one you're not.
Very good point.
The news guy on the nightly news giving you a bad review or something, or saying you got slime right.
Our station does, restaurant report at 11.
Yeah.
12 critical violations for a Mexican restaurant in your town. You're like, oh, geez, I hope I didn't just eat there.
Yeah,
Okay.
let's smoke one out of you guys.
Okay.
People are not eating out as much because they're concerned about their budget or something, so they're,
Reduce disposable income.
So the patronage is down.
Okay,
So, how to get people to want to come to your restaurant.
okay, find some
And,
new people.
health codes, making sure you're up to standard.
Compliant. Very good. Okay, what do you guys have? Head Hotel, let's hear it.
Okay.
Okay.
What pets are we going to allow? What types
As in like what?
Well, we do it only cats and dogs, horses.
Did-
I live in the country, so it's nice to learn.
Never thought of that. Okay, horse hotel. Okay, go.
Call the bar.
I live
Okay, keep going.
vaccine issues?
Okay,
We handle.
good point.
How do we get more customers?
Okay,
Liability issues, both for pet safety.
Very good.
What amenities, do we have the right amenities, do we need to add more?
If
Staff.
they need massages,
Yeah.
I can use a lap that place my dogs go.
Staffing issues. Medical, dietary issues for pets. Location, facilities.
There could be deacons. That's good. Okay.
And then, I said location, sanitary cleanliness issues.
Okay. Now, any advertising issues? Want to make sure you get the right market? The crazy Kates who want TV and massages for their pets? So you had some marketing issues there. Okay.
Having market is, you gotta have a pet.
Get a pet and then come to our hotel. Okay, how about this group? What did you have?
Distributing.
Okay, so what do you have?
We did distributing ice cream.
Oh, good. I like that.
We distributed it before it melts, having the driver.
Very good.
The driver has to be on time, the location before, the ice cream melts in the truck. Even advertisement would be hard for it during the winter instead of the summer. I think that was, also the different variation, like the flavor of ice creams to be more than any other
Product.
Yeah,
Okay.
so,
Okay.
That's what we have.
Good list.
You know you can't sell the rest.
I'm in for that.
That's-
Okay, that's background.
We had private colleges.
Okay.
Some of the issues we had were finding like new quality students, since you're kind of choosy as who you accept. Also being affordable, because people don't have $1 million to go to college generally. Finding and keeping funding, like in terms of just keeping your facilities open and getting donations and stuff like that.
Okay.
Finding and keeping quality staff, because nobody wants to pay to come to your school if your teachers are,
If your teachers are 80.
yeah.
Good.
And then keeping students happy, healthy, and safe.
Okay, those are really good. Okay. Background.
Private schools.
Okay.
And the issues we have is enrollment of new students, competition from lots of new schools opening up. Got a limited catchment area.
Okay.
Marketing.
Yeah, you're not going to go 2 hours to school
Yeah.
every day. Okay.
Limited resources for
Okay.
marketing.
Okay.
Anything else? Liability issues for the kids.
Okay.
Qualified personnel, teachers,
Okay.
and up-to-date curriculum.
Very good.
All right, we had HVAC.
Really love those shoes. Okay.
Yeah. Most of it was just kind of the swings in their times of the year, the waves of the business. I mean, right when your heater starts up, you always have issues. Right when your air conditioner starts up, there's issues. So making sure there's work at other times, and do you have enough staff for that time? Just recognition of your name. Most of the time when you have an issue, you just call up who you know, who you remember. Just selling and getting customers. Training of the service techs, making sure that the face of your company is good and appropriate.
Okay.
Just the equipment that are needed and the trucks and the actual movement of the equipment around.
Okay. Very good. You guys, what do you have?
Hotels, motels,
Okay.
bed bugs,
Ew.
mold, seasonality bookings, poor staff attitudes, security,
Okay.
location problems, being in the wrong part of town maybe. Poor reviews online would be a big one. Just an overall poor image like Motel 6.
We'll leave the light so you can see the bugs.
Just competition rates with others.
Okay.
Just overall bad management, which would result.
Aren't you the manager?
Part two. Am I the manager? Just
He just took it over from his partner.
Yeah, I sold out. He gets his bugs.
Okay.
training and vendors.
Okay.
Parking access.
Did we do you? Okay. Did we do you guys? Okay. So now for the 13s. Now these better be good. They are.
Let's hear 'em.
Staffing.
What did you have?
Manufacturing.
Okay.
Staffing, quality control, timely jobs output, production, buyers are customers, deliverability, timing, new ideas and products,
R&D.
the competition, pricing, environmental issues, competitive advantage, cost of goods, training on products, training with employees, the warranty of products, OSHA. Good, great. Okay.
Yeah,
We ran out of
Chris.
paper.
We ran out of paper.
And advertising, I forgot that.
Oh, for, yeah, but that one in at the end.
I mean, we could maybe argue training of this, training of that, but.
Without your employees being trained, they can't do a good product.
Okay, I know.
Or sell a good product.
Okay, so why did we just do that?
Work off on
Okay.
that.
So you have to go in, you gotta go see the pet hotel guy tomorrow. What are you gonna say? It's Sunday, so it's Monday. Monday, you're going in to see the pet hotel guy. You'd like to sell him something. What are you gonna say?
First thing is to
You can ask them for this same list.
if it's a pet hotel or, you know, pet daycare or whatever, I would have done the research already, but you'd want to find out what market are they trying to reach? Are they going after the affluent market who pampers their pets, or they're going after the general market that's just looking for a place to board their animal for a couple of days? Two different markets.
Completely.
Depending on the answer to that, then we would say, okay, what is it that you're trying to accomplish? How do we reach the market that you want to get out to, and then start building a campaign around that?
Okay, so Barry, I'm gonna be Kate's Pet Hotel.
Okay.
Call me. Call me on the telephone. Free, Kate's Pet Hotel.
I'm gonna come visit you.
Okay, well, you can come visit me.
All right.
So I'm sitting there working at my desk. What are you gonna say?
Tell me a little bit about your business.
Oh, I don't have time for that, Barry. Really busy. Take care of the pets. Okay, no wait. Does that happen?
Yeah.
Okay, they don't always go, oh, come on in, take a load off. I got plenty to tell you. How are you gonna turn what you just wrote on that list into something that gets my
Well,
attention?
obviously, either we contacted them for a reason, or they contacted us for a reason. So I would use that as the initial entry point.
Okay,
You know, for example, maybe you contacted me because you needed some business cards or a new rack card or something.
right.
And I would come and visit you and say, well, I'll be happy to talk about that, but first, you know, what are your other problems here? What are you trying to solve? And you know, maybe we can find some ways where we can help you reach whatever goals you're trying to accomplish.
Okay,
And start that dialogue there.
okay. Now, what we're gonna do in a minute, though, is that there's nothing wrong with that if you have a receptive customer. Okay, so, oh, okay, very sure, I'd like to talk about that. But a lot of times they're just like super duper busy, okay? So when vendor calls you and like, hey, I'd like to come in and see what's your troubling you, what your challenge is, what might you say? I don't have time.
Call me
You
back
don't
next week.
have enough time to hear about my challenges, okay? So we gotta turn that into something that gets their attention, okay? So it might go like, hey Bob, I know you wanna talk about these business cards and I'm happy to help you with that, but first, I was reading an article on the competitive nature of the pet spa and daycare business. And I was wondering if you're aware of best practices that owners are using to target and uncover and then target people who have a high pet IQ who really care about providing a luxurious stay for their pet. Okay, now what's gonna happen to that versus, I just wanna talk to you about what's troubling you.
I'm too busy to worry about that. Dog food.
But,
Okay, well, here's the deal, we're gonna talk about that in a minute. Because I'm gonna readjust our schedule, because you guys actually did like a super duper great job with the vertical market stuff. So once again, proving that you are
We know more than
Smarter than you think.
Smarter than an 8-year-old.
Okay.
Fifth grader.
Second grade, whatever.
When you go in
Young
to
guys will
see,
know that.
when you go in to see people, okay, the focus is those lists that you just made. Okay, because that's what they care about. And you got all the big ones, which is our increasing something, increasing profits, increasing sales, increasing improving turnaround, like, you know, those kinds of things. There's decreasing stuff, decreasing costs, decreasing attrition, things like that. I heard a couple, there's compliance. Nobody wants to break the law. Like, am I meeting the OSHA requirements? Do I have, you know, the pet, am I meeting all the vaccination requirements in the pet hotel? Are my workers, are we complying with the, you know, hours worked rules and that kind of thing? And then the last thing is there an opportunity out there that I'm not getting? Okay, like I need to grow my sales. We could find more people that would stay in the suites as opposed to the kennel, because the suite people pay us $100 a night and the kennel people pay us $59. You know, so I need to find more people that don't want the kennel, they want the suites. Okay, and we also offer this whole like bathing and clipping service. I need people that not only are going to stay here for a couple hours or a couple days, but then will pay for us to groom the pet upon their departure. Okay, so that's a capturing an opportunity. Just like with you, you may have a person that comes in there and gets letterheads and envelopes, but they're using somebody else to get their direct mail and mail them. You need that one. Okay? Those are the big issues that the owners of these businesses care about. Increasing something, decreasing something, complying with something, and capturing an opportunity that they're not capturing. So you want to be able to turn what you just made those lists out around into something insightful that you say to them that gets them thinking. Okay? Now we're going to switch over a little bit to the sales part of this. So learn how your role as a salesperson is changing. Most of you as owners have to sell. Okay, we had one person who was a full-on salesperson, right? Who was that? Okay. All right, identify ways to differentiate you. Okay, I own a business, you all own a business. What do the messages sound like that you get when you pick up your voicemail message? Hi, this is Joe Blow from XYZ Software, and I'd just like to take a few minutes of your time and talk about what you're doing with your time and labor management. Hi, this is Bob Smith from ABC Telecommunications, and I'd just like to talk to you about your phone system. Hello, this is XYZ from XYZ Insurance, and I'd just like to talk about what kind of benefits you're providing to your employees. That's the stuff you go, I don't have time. Okay? So what this next module about is, what do we say that makes them go, I can't not have time? This guy's saying something smart to me. I gotta talk to him, with this guy. Okay, does that make sense? All right. So, and then we're gonna introduce some of these thought starters, like conversation starters, based on what you just did. Now, I skipped over that vertical markets that's in the book. We obviously didn't have all day, we couldn't do every market, so I picked out some main ones and I put like some deep dives in there, and you can go back and look at those slides as a reference material, because you all pretty much have an understanding of what's probably going on in all those verticals. There's a little bit more detailed information in the book, but I'm skipping that so we can pick up some time. Okay? All right, so selling has changed. Okay? Who was my 17-year guy? Somebody had been in business 17 years. Amy?
She's already gone.
Oh, great. Chased away. How about Marilyn's gone? She was 21 years. Dave Vaughn, 14. What is right here? Okay.
Hey, that'd be
No,
nice.
literally gone here, but gone.
Gone. Keep it on. When you opened your business and you first started selling, how did it go?
Slow.
Okay, so it's going even slower now? No, but I mean, how did you sell back in the day?
Knock on doors pretty much in the day. Not so much mailers and stuff, because I was young at the time, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, but
But it's
people
word of mouth, friends, relatives, that type stuff, and then they would tell other people.
who just
But
branch out.
branch out. The kids were always involved in some type of game. That's kind of what we look when we hire people, is we call them soccer moms. If we're looking for somebody, well, we run the front businesses, walk-in business at one salary, one level.
Right.
And then the higher paid, for lack of a better word, guys, which is commercial accounts, which are
Right.
higher money coming in. So if you're a walk-in, you get one set of people with one set of skills, but if you need more than that, you'll pick somebody else in the back of the
Okay.
building that will come up to help you out.
Okay,
So, the guy that comes in and makes 5 copies, I can't have somebody at $20 an hour standing there waiting.
no, you cannot.
So the pay scale's gotta match that.
Okay.
So, going back to your original question, sorry about that, guys.
That's okay.
It was word of mouth, knocking on doors. My kids were involved in enough things that I sold to those things that they were involved in,
Okay.
which would be the baseball, which would be the soccer, which would be the football, which got me into the schools. Being that I'm an alumni at Spring, it got me into Spring,
Okay.
and so on. So it's pretty much who you knew. And then
Okay.
you did a good job, they would tell other people.
Okay, so that's pretty much, did y'all kind of start out there, something like that? Okay, so why didn't that work so well today?
Kids are grown.
Yeah, kids are drawing me down. I want to hit a bigger audience and a broader audience. I can talk to 70 people in one meeting, new businesses, run the small business seminar, the Chamber of Commerce in the area. I'm talking to 70 new businesses once a month that are in our area.
Okay,
You know,
so a little bit more effective
a
than
lot more
one by
effective than
one.
knocking friend to friend, and then the sales are a lot more higher.
Okay, sales are
You
more
moved
lucrative.
up from the mom and pop sale
Okay.
to the actual commercial sale where you're gonna make a lot more money. So, credibility is a little better, so on.
Okay, so what's happened though is our decision makers are busier too, okay? So, it was one thing 15 years ago, people had a certain workload. Oh, yeah, okay, you can come in and talk to me about that. That's interesting, I'll talk to you. But it's just really hard to get in to see people anymore and have the opportunity to build the credibility that you did in the old way by just interacting with people. That's harder to do today. Now, what's working for you, Dave, is the speaking engagements, because you kind of have built-in credibility,
Right.
which is nice. So that's a nice way to overcome the other problem. That's a good strategy. All right, so really sales has evolved now. Now let's think about it from your customer standpoint. I'm a customer at Kate's Pet Hotel, and I go, you know what would be really nice? I need some kind of a menu of services to tell people all the other stuff that we did. Okay, what am I gonna do? Need something printed. What? Am I gonna get in my car and drive over there? Like I might have got
Google.
I'm gonna Google, flyers. Because that's what I'm called. Okay? And guess what's gonna come up? Vistaprint. And they're gonna say, design your flyer online. And I'm gonna say, yippee, I can do that right now and be done with it. Okay? So that's the other thing is like when I first started selling in the early 80s, if you wanted information on like something, your choice was like go visit someone or have them into your office. Like there wasn't internet, And today our customers kind of circumvent that and they just look up what they need to know and they don't need to talk to us. Okay? So the world has changed a lot, and in so doing, we commoditized a lot of product and services because we made it like we offer X and everybody offered X. And so when everything looks the same, what do I make a decision on? Price, okay? Your margins are shrinking, unfortunate fact of life. And so if you want to increase our margin, it can't be about the thing, because the thing is a commodity. So it needs to be about the solving of the problem, which I pay all kinds of money for, okay? So that's why that list that you made, a lot of those lists had things on there you can fix, okay? Think about it. Somebody give me an example of something on that list, on your, what did you have? You couldn't read it, trading company. So give me an example of something that was on your list that you and your business could help them fix. Advertising?
Manuals or supplies needed for.
Okay, so the deliverables.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, think about people who get training. What happens, you have some training today. So what happens tomorrow?
They gotta get it home.
What? Are you gonna be like, or it's Monday morning, woohoo, I remember every single little thing Kate said? Probably not, right? And the training company is gonna have the same problem. So they also wanna grow sales, right? So what's another way to do that for them? Manuals, could be, anybody doing CD duplication or anything like that? Okay, so what if I give you something you can listen to later on to remind you of what you did in the class? Okay? What if, because you took my class, I send you out some kind of update via email to remind you what you learned, make it fresh and keep reinforcing it? Okay? With that, the next time one of those clients for that training company needed some training, are they going to go to the guy that's sending them emails reminding them what they learned, or are they going to go back to the internet and say, who does training? Okay? So you'd be helping him keep his customers, grow sales to that customer by saying, hey, maybe we ought to look at how you reinforce what you're doing. We printed these manuals for you, but you know, I've taken some training in my day, and I know that half of it goes away the minute you walk out. Okay? So saying, I've been thinking about it, and I was thinking that a really cool fit for you might be blah, blah, blah. And here's how it would help you. Now, is that better than, you know, hey, I'd like to see what problems you have, which people are going to say, like, I don't have time, too busy taking care of the problems to talk to you about the problems, right? So you got to project the problem and kind of insinuate, you know, come up with something to say that's like, hey, you probably have this problem. I think there's a way to fix this. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, so we want to do that because we got to get people to think about it in terms of value. If they thinking about, I need flyers, they're going to go to the internet and find Vistaprint. Okay? But if you talk to them about, hey, I think you can get more share of that customer, that pet mom, and I was thinking one way you need to do that is promote all the other things that you do, and I've got some ideas. Are you going to take that meeting? If you're that owner of that manufacturer or that pet hotel or that insurance company or any of the other ones we did? Private school? Okay? All right. So now, this book, has anybody read it? It's big right now. The Challenger Sale? Who reads? Who likes to read? You don't have read time. Hey, we get to listen to it. Okay, the Challenger Sale, basically, when the economy tanked in 2008, the corporate executive board was like, okay, why are some sales reps still successful and others are just sucking wind? What's the deal? So they, and I'm probably going to get this wrong, but they studied like 6,000 companies and 600,000 salespeople. So this wasn't like a baby study. It was like a monster study. And so they identified what they thought four types of sales reps. The hard worker, always willing to go the extra mile, didn't give up easily, self-motivated, interested in development and feedback. Woo-hoo, the ideal employee for a sales rep. They found the relationship builder, build strong advocates in the customer's organizations, is generous and helpful to the customer, gets along with their customers, advocates for the customer within your organization. Anybody had a sales rep that did that? They need to have a lower price. Okay? Then there was the lone wolf. These are the scary salespeople. They don't work with anybody else. They're not much of a team player. They sell a lot, but they create a lot of havoc. Anybody ever had one of those? Oh my God. So it's like you'd like to fire them except they sell stuff. Okay, and then you had the reactive problem solver, which is basically a customer service rep in sales rep's clothing. They wave, hey, I need, okay, I'll help. Okay? So they're like, okay, well, we think that of those types, so let me ask you, of those four types, what do you think is going to be the best one? Who's the most successful? The relationship builder, okay?
Sometimes they're too busy in a relationship to make it sell.
Okay, oh, that's very insightful. Okay, very insightful, Dave. Okay, anybody else want to vote? Hard worker. Hard worker? Okay, we have one for the hard worker, one for the relationship. Okay, so it ended up, the relationship builder was the least likely to be successful. Okay? Now, this came as a big surprise to companies like IBM and Hewlett-Packard and Microsoft, ADP, a lot of the biggies, because they'd been investing in training, in building relationships. So they're like,
I work for an IBM.
I was gonna say.
I mean, that was,
In
they
corporate
sold
America.
10 years for them, relationships were everything.
okay, so, woo-hoo, this is not what we were expecting. Okay? And this is what the slide looked like originally. Okay? So the lone wolf was pretty successful. They made up a huge chunk of the high performers. And the relationship builder made up a huge chunk of the kind of core people. Like, I get the job done, but I'm not a superstar. Okay? All right, so what they found out was that there was another kind, the challenger. Okay? So the challenger always had a different view of the world. Okay? Not what is, but what could be. Kind of the Bobby Kennedy thing. I see things as they could be or whatever. All right? They understood the customer's business so well. And guess what? You all made long lists. Okay? And you didn't have to do any research. You just did it because you knew it. They understood the customer's business so well that they provided unique value. Okay? They love to debate. Like, you tell me you don't want to do it, and I'm going to tell you why I think you should. And I'm going to have some facts to back that up. So they weren't afraid of somebody saying no to them because they believed that they had a better way. Okay? And lastly, they weren't afraid to control the process. Okay? Where the reactive problem solver doesn't want to rock the boat. Okay, Mr. Customer, you want to wait 6 more months? I'm fine with that. I'll be here when you need it. Okay? The challenger was like, you can't afford to wait. Your sales have been going down and you've got another competitor. You need to look at this now. Okay? So the challenger would take control of the sales process. And so here's what happened. When you add the challenger in there, and this is probably easier to see in your book, the challenger made up nearly 40% of the high performers. Okay, where the relationship builder was making up like 6. Okay? So, what do you want to be in a down economy? Okay? And the difference got worse the more complex the sale was. Okay? So if I'm trying to sell somebody like a cross-channel solution or a supply chain management, or I'm trying to help you find more customers instead of selling you 5,000 run of postcards, that difference gets bigger. Does that make sense?
What are those, what does the percentages mean? What is it?
Well, it's hard to see on the slide up there, but the blue on high complexity, that top blue, that's the challenger. So they make up a bigger chunk of successful reps.
Okay.
Okay? So the difference is, in a transactional sale, a simple sale, the difference between the average and the top performers is about 59%. In a complex sale, the difference between the average performers and the superstars is 200%. Okay, why? Because they would take control of it, they understood how to create value for you, and they weren't afraid to make you look at it. Does that make sense? Kind of what we just talked about. Okay? Mr. Community Bank, how long can you continue to lose 25 to 30% of those first-year customers? And where the heck are they going? Because wherever they're going, they're taking that $1.7 million in lifetime value with them. Let's talk about a way that you can keep more of them. Now, if I call the banker up on the phone, is he going to take that call? Or is he going to take, no?
Oh, that's all right.
I think he's going to take it.
That's the
Versus, hey, we've just added a new piece of equipment and we can do a bigger sheet size, and I'd like to tell you about it.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, ultimately, the bigger sheet size may come into play, because I can now make more direct mail pieces up and all that, but they don't care about that. They care about keeping the customers.
But I still think you showed that customer, just using that for example, because you haven't found out why they're leaving yet. I think it needs to be your first, that's what I do. You're losing 35% of your new customers in the first year. Don't you want to know why?
That's a really good question. And how, what do we have, all of you, but what do some of you have that could help them do that?
Call me, we'll talk.
What?
I said, call me, or I'll call you next week, we'll talk.
Yeah, I mean, you could do a Pearl landing page with a survey and find out why did you leave us.
And then start selling them. Once you find out what the problem is, help them fix the problem, and then move on to selling more product.
Okay? So basically, not only can we find the customer with good cross-channel marketing or direct mail personalization or whatever, we can also help you with the lost customer analysis. Why did they leave? We didn't change anything, same services.
Right.
Okay? But if I called you up and say, hey, I want to talk to you about, pearls with landing pages. Well, or I want to talk to you about how you can get a better handle on why your customers are leaving so you can do something about it. Am I gonna talk about that? You have a far better shot, right? Okay? All right, so it wasn't a relationship builder because what's ended up happening is the relationship and the purchasing decision have become decoupled. Okay, it used to be, I like you, I trust you, I'm buying from you. Okay? But we can't do that anymore because you just don't have as much flexibility with that. Like, I can't just give you that business because you're my friend anymore. Okay? So they've become decoupled, and now what's happening is you have a successful selling leads to the relationship, as opposed to the other way around. Okay? So the customer relationship is now the result of a successful selling campaign, not the reason for it. Okay? And if you can bring your customers to think differently about their business, you are differentiating yourself and your company. Does that make sense?
It does, but you have to be careful not to, you know, it's kind of like out driving your headlights in a fog situation.
Huh?
I had a career in the IT industry, and a lot of times we would create a challenging situation to change the game.
Right.
But we were too forward thinking for the client.
Right.
And they couldn't grasp. Now, several years later, everything we said
Was correct.
was a standard everyday thing. But at that point in time, they didn't have the vision.
Playing right into my hands.
Okay.
Okay, so what would that tell you though? Okay, so you can like take somebody to a place they don't want to go and it becomes too risky. Okay, but if you really believed back in the back that you can help you reduce that for year one attrition and cross-sell more products to brand new customers, okay, what does that mean you have to do in your own marketing? I gotta find the people who aren't afraid of the challenge. Okay? Now you could do that because you could incorporate those logics into your own direct marketing. If you're doing PR like we talked earlier and those press releases are going around and somebody raises their hand and says, how'd you do that? I'm curious about that. What's that tell you? That guy wants to go there. So key things here are, if you think you have value there, then you got to find customers that perceive that value. And you got to be able to read the situation. So if you go in and the person's like, I don't care, I just want a price. Okay? Then you know what, you say to yourself, fine, I'll give you a price, you moron. Okay? But I know that's not like I'm not going to spend the rest of my life trying to sell you value. I get it, I get the price, I'll win some, I'll lose some, I move on. Okay, but if you really want long-term customers where there's lots of value and they buy from you a lot and they're not nickel and diming you on the price, then I gotta find ones, just like you said, who will go with me. And some of them won't. You just have to read it. Okay, it doesn't mean you walk away completely, it just means you're not gonna get the lion's share of my resources. You want a price, I'll give you a price. It's like I pay my money and take my chances. Okay, so reading the situation is important. What kind of decision maker are you? Okay? All right, so here's just the facts to back up that selling's harder now. During the last 5 years, the average sales cycle has gotten 22% longer. Okay? Typically with 3 more decision makers involved. Why? Everyone's terrified of risk. Okay? 77% of B2P buyers said that they did not engage with a sales rep until after they limited the field. They did their research online, they found a couple people they wanted to talk to, then they talked to them. And 36%, so over a third, had already narrowed it down. These are my 2 top choices. Okay? So it's just much harder to get in with that old approach, like let's just see if there's a problem in here. Okay, which used to work. 10 years ago, that worked. Hey, Mr. Customer, I'd like to talk to you, and you just have a nice conversation, and you look for those problems to emerge. Okay, which was a great selling process for a long time. That's probably how you learned, that's how I learned. Okay, but today, they don't have the time for that to happen organically. So you've got to say something to them that gets their attention. Okay? And if they don't, you've got to be okay to move on. All right, not that bank, I'm calling the next one. Okay? Now, if they call you back later because what you said meant something, you're at least creating awareness. Even if they don't say, I'm ready to see you today, if you convey that messaging, you're creating awareness. And that's that base of that pyramid. Remember from this morning? Okay. Correct. So customers put the highest value on salespeople who made them think, who brought them new ideas, who find creative and innovative ways to solve challenges. Okay? In short, your customer wants more depth. Okay? Not just something they can read on their website or on your website. Okay? Now, the payoff for you is that when they think you have that depth and they see you, and I think you're a great example of that, having unique information that can help them, you're going to win the business 70% of the time. Okay? Now, here's the flip of that, though. When they ask these same decision makers of the salespeople that call on you, how many are worthy of your time? They said 7%. Okay? So all the salespeople that come before you have kind of made our job hard. Because they're basically like, yeah, let me tell you about our new whatever. Okay? So that's why, you know, in this shift, it's not easy because there's still plenty of sales reps doing it the wrong way, so people are like, I don't want to talk to you. Okay? So it's not going to be like a miracle. Like you're still going to have to fight your way through that a little bit. But when you find a customer like that who's interested, it'll be a much better relationship. Does that make sense? All right, so in conclusion, the profile most likely to win wasn't winning because of the down economy, but because they had mastered a complex sale. They understood that their customer was worried about risk, and they presented things in an ROI fashion, not just a here's your price, here's your item, here's your price, here's your item, here's your price. They were able to say, hey, let's talk about what it's really worth to you if you can reduce this attrition rate by 5% and you keep $1.7 million worth of that lifetime value in your institution. What's that worth for you? Because if I'm thinking in terms of that, then $2,000, $2,500, the difference between $3,200 and $3,700 doesn't matter. Okay? But if we're all just talking about the thing, and you're at $2,700 and you're at $2,200, it matters. So I'm going to go, well, it's the same thing. You're cheaper. Okay? Is that making sense? All right, so the winning group is far better able to drive sales and deliver customer value in any kind of economy. So your decision maker needs, and you guys got this for the most part. Everybody got good stuff. They need to keep their customers. They need to find new ones because you're going to lose some no matter what. Just like, you know, they want improved productivity. A lot of you talked about resource allocation. Do I have enough waiters on the floor to satisfy my peak periods when my diners are coming in? Okay? So that's a productivity issue. They want more profitability. They really want you to understand that stuff, okay, and how you can help them do that, and be responsible for helping me achieve my goals. Does that make sense? All right, so now here's a tricky one. Who still has some print buyers? The person who gets the message from on high, go buy 5,000 brochures. Who has customers like that? Their job is to go get the 5,000 brochures. So when you ask them, hey, what's this for? They're like, I don't know. Do you have any of those?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you think they need?
Fulfillment, they just want to fulfill the order.
Okay.
Make them look good.
What's their job look like? Okay.
Need to get it done right.
What's looking good look like to them?
Got to be done right.
What?
Has to be on time and right.
Ooh, what's it like for them, like when they take a job, you know, like the marketing department calls them up and says, buy this. What do you think happens the rest of the way?
Most of those come in from bigger businesses, and they don't want to look bad in front of their bosses or their coworkers, and they want it there before they need it.
So if they bought it from you, who's that marketing person calling when they want to know where it is?
Whoever ordered from you.
They're calling that buyer.
Yeah, buyer.
Okay? And then what does the buyer have to do?
He's got to call you.
He's got to call you, and then you're out on calls.
Yeah.
So you can't really answer that. So then what happens?
She's upset.
She's mad because what's going to happen in the meantime?
She's gonna
get
Her
it.
buyer's going to call her again.
Where's my job?
Nobody likes that. Okay?
You got to make her look good. Again,
So put yourself in their position. What do you think they want to hear from you?
when you want.
That the job is being completed and
Do they believe everything happens like magic and there'll never be a
They always
problem?
get each other
They
right.
think that.
Not all of them. They're realistic. They've been around the
I
block.
mean, we have it constantly. We have a purchaser and a marketing person that they argue all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And both of them work.
And both of them place the orders with us.
Okay.
The left hand doesn't know what the right hand's doing. Did you get a PO? Did you not get a PO? When are they gonna be there? How many do you need? So you're not really, us as the printer,
We're in the middle.
we're kind of caught in the middle. Like, Sheila, I can't print this until I get a PO from your purchasing agent. And Sheila's mad at the purchasing agent because she hasn't gotten the PO to quick copy and,
Okay, so forget their system. If you
Yeah.
wanted to fix that, what would you do?
well,
I work with the marketing person,
we work with the marketing person, but
but I try to keep the other thing.
We have to take control of the situation and make it
That's
happen.
what I'm saying.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Jennifer.
You
Okay.
say, I'm not running anything until this is here. Thank you.
Well, we do
You need
that.
to speak to so-and-so
Well,
to get the PO.
yeah.
Or let's go, hey, you guys, there seems to be a lot of chaos. I know you're really busy.
Right.
Let's map out a process where everybody gets what they want.
Yeah.
Okay? And then I'll play my role. If I need to make sure that both of you know what's going on because you're busy and you're not talking to one another, I'll do that.
and that's kind of what we had to do. We have
Okay.
to- we send the information to both of them on the exact same day.
Okay? So you took control of the situation.
we
You don't just complain about it.
Yeah.
Okay? So that's another aspect of that challenger. It's like, okay, well, I'm not going to keep hitting myself against a brick wall. What can I go back to them and say, here's a better way for us all to work and be productive? And come up with the fix to that. Rather than, we have a tendency, well, that's the way I do it. And we don't take control of it. We just live with the consequences. Okay? But you guys are business. Have you ever had a situation like that in your own companies? Where two people have different pieces of information regarding the same thing?
Nobody's communicating.
Yes. Now, how did you fix that?
You bring the two together and we all get it on the same page.
I don't know, sir.
You have, so Sharon,
That's great.
Sharon, you have the experience to solve this. Okay, you solved it in your own company, you can help them solve it. Okay? Have you ever had a situation as a salesperson where you're out doing one thing or the other, you don't know what's going on back at the ranch, and people are calling you saying, where's my job? What do you do? Where's the job for that other customer?
I get angry.
Okay, so but what did
Because
you
I
do
don't
to fix it?
understand not being organized and not watching the due date, not having everything done exactly when it's supposed to be done.
Okay, but what did you do to fix it?
Usually I cry, but it gets fixed. We always get it. I mean, I'll stop, I'll call the shop, I'll say, hey, where are we with this? They'll tell me, I'll call the customer and I'll say, I'll have it when you need it.
How about why don't they text you in the field and tell you what's done?
Text you.
Call.
I text you something.
But sometimes when I'm out,
He said
it's
he's
quicker for me,
easy.
if I'm making
He
sales
doesn't
calls, it's quicker for me to just call the shop, find out what's going on, figure it out right then and hang up. Because otherwise I got a text, but I can't sit there and wait for the text, because I got a meeting to get into. So then by the time I get back out to my car 20 minutes later and read the text, if they text me back, then it's taking 30 minutes for me to get back with my customer.
Okay, so we gotta fix that for you. And then once we fix that for you, you can talk to your customers about fixing that. Okay, so the point of that was, you fix problems all day long. Okay? Binders ahead of the press room, the paper's not here, the job's scheduled, I'm in the field, I don't know what's happening with my jobs, and you've come up with ways to fix that, for the most part. That's valuable to them. Okay? So your insight as a business owner is fix stuff. Now you can turn that into things you can say to them to get their attention. Does that make sense? Okay. All right, so buyer people, they need info. Like, figure out a way to keep them completely informed so that they're not going, I don't know, let me call them. That is what they hate. Okay, because it makes them look bad. Okay? What else do they need? Anybody call you, discrepancy with the invoicing? What job is this? I can't tell. Okay? So that makes them have more work. So they need clear invoicing and things like that. So the wants are a little less strategic for that person who's just in charge of buying something, then the owner or the head of marketing or head of sales, like they're more strategic needs, but they still have them. So your goal becomes like, how do I figure out what you really need? Okay, because they can have personal needs that you can fulfill. That makes that relationship better. Okay. All right. So really, the whole point of this is you can use the lessons that you've learned from working with your customers. How many have seen customers fix issues like that? Used to have a problem, and now that customer figured it out. Used to have an onboarding issue, now they figured it out. That's knowledge about how they approached the problem and ultimately what they did that you can carry on to the next opportunity. Okay, I'm not saying you tell tales, but you now have experience how they analyzed it, what they decided, what was the outcome, and that's insight that you can't get off the website. That's a reason to talk to you. Okay, so you have knowledge from your customers, from running your business, from opportunities like this where you got a lot of data today that they don't have access to. Hey, Mr. Customer, did you know that the average campaign uses 3 media? And I noticed your direct mail, you don't have it linked to your website, you don't have any way to track whether the customer is interested so that you can nurture that interest. There may be ways to help you do that. Okay, so you're using what you learned today to bring something that they don't know to them. Stuff they can't get off the website. You can engage your prospects, help them sell more stuff, streamline their processes, we talked a little bit about that, and grow. And then that can help them solve those real strategic needs that they have and even uncover problems that they didn't even think they had. Okay? All right, so selling owners must change from a focus of knowing your products and services to knowing business and marketing. And that's what you're getting this marketing certification for. You have to use a sales process that capitalizes on what you know as an owner, as a business person, and for you, Jennifer, what you know from working so closely with your owners. Okay? They must be able to help the decision makers build consensus within their organization because they don't want risk. So they're not going out on a limb because you said so. Okay, so how would you help them do that? Okay, by taking control of the situation and saying, let's get everybody together in a room. Let's make sure we have everybody an understanding of all of their needs, and then when I propose the solution, you'll have that consensus that you need, Mr. Customer, Mr. Decision Maker. You can suggest that rather than he told me to do this, he's going to do all the work internally. Does that make sense? Okay, so that's just a slight change. Instead of saying, yes, let me get that for you, you're going to say, wait a second, who else is involved here? Okay, because we found in working with other community banks, with other pet hotels, with other distributors, with other manufacturers, that one of the most difficult things for decision makers is to get consensus with their organization. They're going to be thinking, oh God, that's true. And you're going to say, and what we found is if you get everybody together at the beginning, you're going to end up in a better place. So let's bring them all in and let's talk about this at the onset, and then at the end you won't be surprised when someone says no. Okay, you're taking control of the process. Yes.
I'll go one more further than that. It's internal for us is we have a customer that keeps changing her mind or changing the parameters of her jobs. But she likes talking to different people about it. So now we have that person only can talk to one person. Because when she makes changes, we've got to keep notes of everything she makes changes of, because she'll forget she made a change. And so we've got to show, here's this email, here's this email, and now you have to talk to this one person because you can't talk to 3 other people and make changes. And she likes doing that.
Okay.
So.
Well, that solved the problem.
That solved the problem. I'm just letting you know there are more things than just the customer problem, because the customer is the problem. But
creating problems for you.
Yeah.
Okay. The CRM could do that.
Yeah.
So that anyone who logs on, does anybody have a CRM?
What's that?
Like customer relationship management piece of software? I mean, there's a really good one out there called Not Real Expensive CRM or something. I think that's the name of it. It's really cheap. It's like $10 a month or whatever. I mean, it's really not expensive at all. And then when that customer called Kathy and had already spoken to Jane, Jane would be like, or Kathy would be like, oh, I see that you mentioned to Jane that you'd like that headline changed. So that's another way to solve the problem. You can do it with process, you can do it with tools. Okay? All right. So now the sales process that I have taught for years looks roughly like this. okay? So the key element is we're going to target. Remember we thought this morning, we want people who we think need what we have, okay? So we're going to target that audience. It's going to be community banks, retailers, whatever it is, all right? And then you have to get them engaged. You have to find out, like, yeah, you know what? I would like to sell more stuff to our existing customers. Oh yeah, you know what? I hate when we do a training for someone and then we check back in with them a year later and they've hired another company. It drives me crazy. Okay? So at the moment that they say, yes, that's a problem, or yes, I'd like to capture that opportunity, that's kind of the watershed moment, that they go from being a suspect or a member of the target audience to a prospect. Okay? Because now they need something that you can do. Okay? And then, so we'll talk about that in a minute. Okay, so basically, to get their attention, remember we talked about key messages this morning? Brief, concise, demonstrative, no jargon, okay? So if I'm talking to B2B, I know they have to find leads. Remember that chart from this morning? It takes them longer to nurture them than a consumer who buys something. Okay, so I can make some judgments about what's probably going on in an organization that has a direct sales force, right? Okay? And so I'm going to say, hey, Mr. President of the company, a typical sales force only spends about 41% of their time on sales activities, actually advancing the sale. All the time they spend trying to get in front of the right people is time that they aren't in front of the right people. Insightful? Okay? What if your marketing could cost effectively deliver qualified opportunities to your sales team? How much more could you sell if your salespeople spent 60 or maybe 70% of their time advancing the sale? What do you have that would help them do that? What do you have to sell? We're going to have to get the cookies out. Everybody's getting tired. Think about it. What do you have that could help them find leads and qualify those leads? Okay? It talks. Okay? Direct mail could do that. A direct mail with a landing page so that I can see what you're interested in. More qualified, right? Okay? An email campaign where you can say, yes, call me now. I have that need. So you guys all, many of you can already do that. Okay? So those are kind of your key messages to a B2B company with a direct sales force. Now, how would you tweak that if they use dealers to sell? Think about it. Does the manufacturer still want the dealers to be productive? It's the dealers with the sales force, but ultimately the sales force is selling the manufacturer's products, right? So all I have to do with that is say your dealers, sales forces are only spending, okay? That's all I have to do. All right? Let's say it's a retail counter thing, okay? Like it's the pet hotel. So I'm bringing my little dog in. Somebody's working behind the counter, okay? Isn't that the same as sale, almost like a direct salesperson? What does that counter person have to say? Hey, did you know you could also bathe and groom your pet before you leave? What if we gave them a means to have leads? Okay? Same thing? So you basically, if you understand how things get sold, which you all do, right? Because you buy and you sell, then you can tweak the stuff to apply to multiple things. So for you, that becomes, how is that teller introducing that new client to services? What if there was a way to tell what that customer might be interested in and get them warmed up before they walked into the facility? Same points, just relevant now to the market. Does that make sense? Okay, so basically, things are bought and sold a lot alike in all kinds of vertical markets. Okay? All right, so here's a nonprofit one. Okay, so all the nonprofits are big on online giving. So we say, okay, Mr. Customer, the number of online gifts rose by 12.6% in 2011, and many organizations like yourself are really focused on improving their sites to be able to take advantage of those online gifts. While all that attention has been being paid to the online giving, many have failed to focus on the fact that if you get that online donor to also get engaged with you in offline channels like print, they will give you almost 40% more money in the first 12 months. What is the methodology that you're currently using to engage your online donors in your offline channels to grow gift signs? They're gonna probably go, what are you talking about? Okay, but what they will remember is 40% growth. So really, you can get 40% more higher gifts, more gifts? Okay, I'd like to just come in and talk to you about what some other nonprofit organizations are doing to make that happen. Okay, how they do that is they send them mail. They don't just assume that they're gonna give forever online. Okay, does that make sense? All right, so basically these key messages, you come up with a good set, and then you just kind of mix them up a little bit. Add in some vertical stuff, depending on who you're calling to. Use your old noodle, which has kept you in business all these years, to tweak that out. And now you're having a completely different conversation, and let me talk to you about our color capability. Does that make sense?
Data, the 40%.
Well, you get that, you gotta read. Okay, now,
Yeah, because they're gonna probably say, how did you find that? I mean, they might say, how did you find this out?
yeah, but you know what's amazing? Like, you need to know that. Like, you don't make it up. Okay, so
Yeah.
you're like, well, I would like to get some more business out of nonprofits, so I'm gonna read up a little bit. Okay? And then a lot of this stuff I gave you today gives you fodder, okay? But then you get like different sources that become your go-to place. Okay, does anybody know about PODI?
I've heard of it.
Print on Demand Initiative, that's a good place to go, lots of statistics.
You gotta join.
Yeah, but I would bet, we'll ask Dave, but I would bet you have a membership as a unit, okay? But you find your places, like I go for nonprofit statistics, Blackbaud. They sell Razor's Edge, anybody ever hear that? It's the go-to CRM for nonprofits, and they are content machines. Go to their website, type in online donors, you're gonna get 87 white papers, read a couple of them, you're good to go, okay? So I have like my sources. I know I go to Blackbaud for nonprofit, okay? For colleges and universities, I go to CASE for fundraising. Forget what that stands for, but it's like Alumni Development Professionals or something like that. So once you kind of do it once, you know where your resources are, okay? All right, so do that. All right, so the key components of this whole change is targeting people that like make strategic decisions, demonstrating understanding of challenges facing that vertical market, and guess what? You all did, okay? You all did. Confident and peer-like in delivery. Okay, now that's a biggie. Okay, you're all business owners. Your job is actually a whole lot harder than the guys at, Microsoft, because you have to do a lot more creatively and with less resources. You got to be confident in that when you get a phone call. Okay, hey, I run a business. I've run a business in this town for 30 years, and I've seen a lot of things come and go, and I've got some interesting ideas to talk to you about, and XYZ, whatever that key message is. Okay, you've got to feel that way. If you feel like, please, please see me, I might have something I can sell to you, not going to work. Okay, so you know this. You run businesses. Okay, you got to be confident in that. You got to be clear about what you want. What I want is for you to say, I would like more money from my donors. I would like to cross-sell these people who come into my pet spa more services. I would like to keep these darn training customers and sell them more next year. I need you to say that. So you got to be clear about what I'm looking for. I want you to say you have a need there. Okay, does that make sense? Because if you're just like, well, I just want to chit-chat, then guess what? You're going to accomplish that, but it's not going to take you anywhere. Okay, so when you start out, you got to be like, this is a private school. I know private schools are having a hard time because people don't have as much disposable income. I bet they're having a hard time recruiting students. I need them to admit they could do better. And that's what I'm trying to do. Because once they admit, yeah, I think there's opportunity there, I can go in and talk to them. Does that make sense? So be clear about your objective. And remember, you're focused on those business issues, not on the stuff you have. Okay? So this is just the qualification points. And then from that point forward, you just want to make sure, okay, you admitted you had a need or a pain. I want to make sure there's some urgency around it. Okay, it's not like, yeah, it'd be nice, but it's more like, I want to do this today. Got to get you to say that. I need to make sure I'm talking to the right people. And remember, it's 3 more than it would have been 5 years ago. So not just one person, but who else is involved. I want to understand like how they make decisions. Now, how do you find that out? Craig. Brilliant. Craig is a genius. Okay? You can ask. And now some people have trouble with that. Okay, so like they hate that question, like who besides yourself makes decisions or will be involved in this decision? That's scary. And then they also don't like when you made this decision, when you make this decision, what's going to be important to you. Okay? But here's the easy way to do it. Hey, I see you just bought a delivery truck. What made you buy that? Okay? What are they going to say? Well, it was the last one on the lot. They gave me a sweet deal. So I just decided what the heck, I'll take it. What does that tell you about their decision-making criteria? They want a deal. Okay, so I'm going to keep that in mind, because when the time comes, I'm going to need that. Okay? Or I say, hey, I saw a brand new Lexus in the company president spot out front when I drove in. Why'd you buy a Lexus? Well, because it has the highest resale value, and it could hold 3 sets of golf clubs, and there's 19 cup holders. What does that tell you? He wants value. Okay? So it's just ask them why they bought something they bought. That'll give you a good tip, and it's not as scary. Okay? All right. So you want to get that prospect to acknowledge a concern or objective. You want that suspect to have strategic responsibility, and then the owner-seller is going to direct the sale. I think this is the next step. We need to do this, not wait for you to say, can you give me a price on it? Does that make sense? Okay. So we'll work on that the rest of your certification, okay? Because ultimately what you want to know is, what's it worth to you? Knocking that retention or attrition rate down by 5%, and you bring on 4,000, well, I can't do the math on that. You bring on 100 customers a year. So if I reduce your 30% attrition, that means you're going to keep 5 more customers. 5 times 1.7 is whatever. And that's what this is worth. Okay? Or, okay, let's look at this. Jane has to call Mary. Mary has to call Bob. Bob has to call me. And all that takes 10 minutes or 15 minutes or 2 days. What's 2 days worth of time worth to you? So you either quantify the pain or the value. And that's what gives you urgency. I gotta fix this. This is costing us $20,000 a year. Okay? What is it costing you guys that Jennifer has to break her sales stride and keep calling the plant back? Where's my job? Where's my job? It's costing money. All right? So figure out what that's costing you. Then you'll want to fix it, but then you'll know what to say to another small manufacturer who probably has the same exact problem. Does that make sense? Okay. Try to figure out what happens in your sales cycle with them if they don't buy at all. So back to community banks, because they're so good. If you continue to lose 30% of your year 1 customers every year, what's that? And you don't do anything about it, what happens? Where do those customers go? They go to your competitor. Okay? If you don't buy from me, what happens? So that's not good for you, okay? But here's the trick. What does it mean to you? Like you to the prospect, okay? Here's the best example of that. How many of you guys are moms? Okay. Do you ever make macaroni and cheese for your kids? What do you make? Kraft macaroni and cheese. Anybody try to buy the Kroger brand and serve that to a kid? Does anybody remember what happened? It's not the right color! These noodles are funny! This is funny! I don't, like, it doesn't taste the same! It tastes the same, keep eating it. No, it doesn't! I'm not gonna eat it! It's not the right color! All for 33 cents? There's no freaking way I would ever buy the Kroger box of macaroni and cheese again, because that's what it looks like to me, not 33 cents. It looks like it's 7 o'clock at night, I just had a long days of work, I don't want to fight with you, eat the damn stuff. Okay?
That sounds like you.
I will never buy anything but Kraft macaroni and cheese until the day I die, because that was that painful. Okay? So that, you've got to say, like, what happens? Like, we give you great customer service, and if you go over there, they're not going to be like us, because they don't understand that y'all don't talk to each other. I get that. Okay? So you got to figure out, what's it going to feel like to you if you go over to Gary, and Gary doesn't understand that y'all don't talk to each other? What is going to happen? Those jobs are going to be messed up, aren't they? Okay? So you want to know
Somebody's
what
gonna
happens
get
if you
mad.
don't buy, and what happens if you buy from somebody else. Okay? So try to figure those two things out. Figure out if they even can buy now. And lastly, this is a biggie. They got to believe you can do it. So you got to ask them. You can't just be like, well, they keep taking meetings. They must love us. They asked us for a proposal. They must love us. Is that right? The best way to get rid of a salesperson is to ask them for a proposal. Because then what are they going to say? After they get the proposal. Oh, it's just too much.
How am I gonna get this put together?
Yeah. So when I hear I'd like a proposal, I think, damn. Okay? So you got to be the one who tells them that they want a proposal. Okay? But the other piece of that is, what you want to ask them is, at this stage, do you believe myself and my company have the expertise to help you solve this problem? Okay? Because once they say that, it's going to be a whole lot harder for them to say, you know, I changed my mind. Okay? So later on in the sales cycle, when you present the proposal, that looks like, at this stage of the game, do you believe we are the best choice to help you solve this problem? Yeah, I think you are. Okay? Later on, they're not going to say, you know, we're going to go with Gary. Because they're going to feel bad about it then, aren't they? Okay? 2 questions. One at the beginning, one at the end. Okay? But you got to ask. You have to ask that, and they have to answer. Okay? All right, so there's some other stuff to think about. Understanding the value of fixing the pain or achieving the objective is the key to creating urgency with the buyer. We covered all this. Yep, we did. Okay. So summary. Today's decision makers need insight and ways to be more competitive. What you do and the services you offer can be pulled directly from your website, so they wouldn't need to talk to you. They need the value of your experience and your insight. Okay? Because that can help them be smarter. Owners need to be both efficient and effective in their selling activities, because you guys have a lot of other stuff to do. Okay? So you can't be like running around begging people to talk to you. Okay? You need to be like, buddy. You don't have to say buddy, but hey, you know what? I was reading up about these pet hotels, and I think you're missing some opportunity there. I'd like to come out and talk to you about that. Okay? Because when you make that call, you need to get in to see them. You don't need to have to call 100 people, because you've got other stuff to do. Okay? So be efficient in that, and using your experience as a business owner to help you share that unique insight. You have it already. You all know what the problems were. Okay? You all know how to solve those problems. You're solving them for yourself. So be confident, and you all figured out what was wrong with those marketing campaigns earlier this morning. So prove me again. Smarter than okay. I think some cookies came. Jay, note to self, big lunches, not good. Okay, why don't everybody get some coffee, eat something sweet, do some jumping jacks. Okay, and then we're going to try to put this into action.
Getting warm.